What's so funny, TSM?
Yeah. Tune in with April Showers on YouTube. Hey. Talk about it, be about it. Tune in with April Showers. Hit that like, that, share, subscribe. Then let's make Miss April ours. Talk about it, be about it. Tune in with April Showers. Hit that like, that, share, subscribe. Then let's make Miss April ours. Talk about it, be about it. Tune in with April Showers. Hit that like, that, share, subscribe. Then let's make Miss April ours. Talk about it. Be about it. Tune in with April Showers. Hit that like, that, share, subscribe. And let's make Miss April ours. You know that she in the better, that she in the better thing. She do a little bit of everything. Know that she in the better, that she in the better thing. She do a little bit of everything.
Hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, Mr. Super Villain H-Rap. I'm gonna give people a few minutes to come in here, and then I'm gonna share the show. I want to say I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate the invite.
Uh-huh. Yeah, cause you've been on YouTube for a while yourself, right?
Yeah, for about a year and a half.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I came over here. Well, I always had a channel.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, under Darlene April, when I would go to conferences, I would share video, but I didn't think about being monetized or none of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just on here just to be on here until I heard you could make money. Yeah, and so now everybody's on YouTube now, which is great because it's enough money for everybody. Yeah,
Indeed.
yeah.
It's enough
Hey,
selective.
Purplicious, B Sparrow, Fanatic, Cleaning Guru. Together we break the chain. Okay. Please hit the like button on your way in. It is free. It's free. Don't cost you nothing, but just you know to hit that button. All right. So H Rap, you wanna give us a little
Oh, background on me.
background about you? Yeah, I'm trying to put
Yeah,
this.
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, well, I'm H-Rap Beef and Built for This Network. I am the part owner of Built for This Network podcast network, where we have shows throughout the country, Jersey, several shows in Jersey, Atlanta, here in Chicago, and I have a viewership all over the country, actually all over the world. We established about 3 years ago. About a year and a half ago, I switched from doing sports to doing community empowerment. It's part of my life. It's part of my life's work. It's part of my lineage. My dad, both my parents, I come from two parents who are part of the Black Panther Party, self-defense. So community empowerment has been part of my life my entire life. I'm 52 years old. I live in Chicago, Illinois. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I was born on the west side of Chicago, raised on the north side of Chicago. So what I do is every Tuesday I do a show in which I provide information that would potentially impact. Well, if you use the information, it can potentially empower you as well as the people around you, as well as the community that you're involved in. And if not, we're going to continue to spin our wheels the way we are, I feel.
Okay. Tell us, what was it like growing up in the city and on the west side? You know, hey,
I mean,
the west side was always stereotyped as, the worst part. But tell us your experience.
oh, well, I mean, it was typical. I mean, one of the good, I moved up the west side when I was 6 years old, but I still stayed on the, I still hung out on the west side because I had family there. My mother and my father's family are from west side of Chicago, so I still have a ton of family and a ton of friends. I even went to high school. I continued to be on the west side, going to high school on the west side of Chicago, West Towns Vocational High School. But I have friends all over the city, and I don't see the west side being any different. The west side is more blue collar. One of the worst things about the west side is people are surviving, they're not really living. Then they're not living up to their potential. There's a lot of potential on the west side, but due to underfunding and disenfranchisement, people on the west side are taught to get a job, and then I got to get this and I get that. You're not taught to prepare for your future as much as other parts of town, and that's the only disadvantage. West side people are loyal. The west side people are insanely friendly. West side people are primarily from the South. You got the west side that's primarily permeates from Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, and they always going back and forth to those places. So you get a real Southern down home feel. Everybody, the west side is this and the west side is that. I look at the west side as a microcosm of the entire Black community. After the King riots, the city, state, and the municipalities and the county never reinvested in the west side. So you do have some dilapidated homes and things of that nature. But I'm just speaking about the people. It's not about the aesthetics, it's about the people, no matter where you are. Black people are Black people. I've been all over the country, and I fit in wherever I went because I'm from Chicago. And, they always say, oh, if you make it out of New York, if you make it out of Chicago, you can make it anywhere. So it was a pleasant, I saw it as an warm and embracing part of town. But, just like we do in every other thing in our community, we listen to the media and we listen to the scuttlebutt, and we allow the scuttlebutt and the media to determine a whole class of people. Now, like you said, the west side was always stereotyped, but is it that how the whole Black community stereotyped? Black people don't want to work, Black people lazy, Black people trifling, but it's okay for us to say that about each other, but we get mad when other people say it. So it's just one of those things that you deal with being from the west side. As a matter of fact, I actually use my west side roots to weed out the clowns in my life. I meet somebody from another part of town, and they ask me where I'm from, because I consider myself a north side. I'm from Old Town, Lincoln Park, Old Town. But I don't tell people that. I say, where you from? I'm from the west side. And then all their biases show up, and then they start looking at me funny. And I go, yeah, you're a clown, and I leave them alone.
Okay. And so, hello to everyone in the chat. We got the Built for This network showing their support for their guy, H-Rap. He also, tell them about your podcast. Did you tell them about the podcast?
Yeah, I do. I host several podcasts on Monday. I do a joint venture with Built for This network and BS3 network out of Texas. And we do a movie review podcast every Monday, 8:30 on BS3 Sports. You can find them on Roku TV or YouTube, BS3 Network. And then Tuesdays, I do my own show called Build and Destroy, where I attempt to build up the community and destroy the lies and the propaganda that come around our community. Everything I do is about empowerment. A couple weeks ago, I did a firearms show, and I had a firearms expert. And if anybody's in the Chicagoland area, he's an excellent teacher. He's former military. He's a member of the church. He's a minister, former military, all around good dude. And he's providing you information so you can keep yourself safe. And I continue to do those things. Tonight, after this, I have to get ready to do a show with my son. Me and my son do a show every other week, and we talk about the world from the perspective of a 29-year-old man and the perspective of a 52-year-old man. And then Fridays, I do this show called Rapping with H-Rap, rapping with H-Rap is just people, what we're doing right now. People telling their stories. I have people from all walks of life. I've had Kenny Anderson, former NBA player Kenny Anderson, Rod Strickland. Olden Polynice has been on twice. James Lights Out Tony, Freeze Love, the comedian. I've had a host of rappers. I've had people from all historians, Chicago legends. I had a woman on there about a month and a half ago. Her name is Brenda Meyer. Brenda Meyer works in works in the defense of human trafficking. Brenda used to be a prostitute, and now she works with the White House to prevent human trafficking. And as she states, I went from the whorehouse to the White House. So it's about people telling their stories, because everybody think they're living in a horrible situation, but the situation is not, and more than likely will not be as horrible as you assume it is. And there's some people who've made it out of worse situations. So if you hear those stories, hopefully it'll inspire you to keep your head up and be the best you can be.
Okay, I have another person that's co-hosting with me tonight. Together we break the chain productions, and she is very familiar with DCFS. Together, did you have anything you wanted to ask him?
Um, Not right now. I'm just listening because it's a lot of good information that he's giving and a lot of stuff that he is saying. I've heard people like Mr. Williams speak to the Black community. I'm in California, and so it's weird to me because it's almost like mama and grandma molded you to be a certain way. So
Indeed. Indeed.
One of the conversations that I had earlier today before I got on with a friend was that there's a mother and she had 4 children, and the mother was like the Section 8 queen and the welfare queen, but someone got in her ear and said, "Hey, what example are you showing your children?" And so the mother went off to open up her own business. The son followed, but the 3 daughters want to stay stuck in low income Section 8 housing, getting welfare benefits, and now their children are coming of age and they're doing the same thing. So what you're saying is we have to have a different mindset, and what you're offering is an excellent thing, but will the people listen?
You know what
You
I
have
do? You know what? Together, I think people will listen. I think when we say people, they ain't gonna do it, I think that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I think the tongue is mighty. You know what I mean? Whatever you say, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. One of my great friends, his name is Nolan Posey, God rest his soul. He had never been to New York City. And I paid for him to go to New York City. We went to a Yankee game. It was the last year the original Yankee Stadium was open. And we drove there and we had a great time. And we were in just about to leave Pennsylvania. He turned to me and said, "Man, B, really appreciate this, man. I had never been to New York. If I die now, I'll be happy." That was in May. Nolan was dead before September. He just did not wake up one day. And I believe when we say things like that, it sets things in motion. You know what? A lot of people suffer because they don't know. Only reason I know is because my mother, like you said, my grandmother laid down the foundation. By the time I got here, August of 1970, my dad was dead. He got hit in the head by a cop. And he got hit in the head by a cop in September, complained about headaches, had an aneurysm, and died right in front of my mother. So she could have gave up, but she had the example of her grandfather and her father. So I believe if we continue to just talk to people, like I drive rideshare. It's these young boys get in my car all the time. They got dope on them. They got guns on them. I know it. I mean, I know what it looks like. And I've just said, one time the dude got in, he was just smelling like weed. Before weed was legal, he just smelling like I knew he had weed. I said, "My man." That's all I said to him, "My man." He said, "My fault, big homie." We get to rapping. After every show, he sends me a text. Good show, big homie. It's just, the reason I'm saying these things is because nobody had ever just talked to that young brother. A lot of these people in our community are not being spoken to. They are just being talked at. And I have experiences with that. I was a solid basketball player when I was very young. And my uncle had played a little bit for the Spurs. He was giving me tips, but he wasn't. He was just talking at me. You should do this. You should do this. He was just barking out information. Because I ain't like his delivery, I started playing football. Like, I don't want you talking to me like this, man. Get out of here. If I'd have stopped it, if he'd have been talking to me like we talk now, maybe I would have continued to play basketball and been maybe I would have made it further than he made it. So I would personally believe we have to start talking to each other and start talking at each other and barking at each other, and then it'll be received better. That's just my personal point of view. That's why I do what I do.
Okay. B Sparrow, and also on Friday when she come back from her vacation, we do a weekly cap show. She has a question for you, H-Rap. I put it on the screen.
Okay, she said the last time I talked to H-Rap, we talked about the voting process. And that was before the Biden-Harris. I'd love to know how he feels about the current administration now. I think they suck. But you know why they suck? They suck because we use vote. Okay, if I'm remembering this conversation properly, this is when I was anti-voting. I think I was talking to B. I was anti-voting, and then I started reading and I started looking into things. And they took civics out of school for a reason. They took civics out of school so we wouldn't know how to handle the system. You don't know the rules of the game. You can't win in the game. You can participate, but you can't win. Biden and Harris, they suck, and every other president in the history of the United States have sucked. So they're just doing what's par for the course. I don't even pay attention to Biden and Harris too much. What I'm primarily concerned with is the aldermen, the committeemen, the city council, the people in charge of education, the city the city manager, the mayor, the governor, and those people. Because what I do is promote this app on my show. It's not my app, so you don't have to worry about it. I ain't getting it down for it. It's called Politicking. The Politicking app lets you know how these people vote, if they're voting in your best interest or not. Then it's another one called 5 Calls. 5 Calls allows you to get in contact with 5 people directly. No matter where you are, you download the 5 Calls app and you can get in contact with 5 people: the state senator, the state rep, the mayor's office, the governor, and whoever else, the alderman. You can get in contact with them. I've known that it worked because once here in Chicago, it was literally 5 years ago this weekend. It was the Chicago Marathon weekend. They didn't post anything in my neighborhood. I was really just going to watch football at my homeboy's house. But I got detained because I had to wait for the marathon to be over. I used Google, and I called my alderman and lied. His name is Frank Carcetti. Frank Canetti. He's still running. And I lied. I said, man, I lost my job because y'all ain't post nothing about this marathon. And I left a vitriolic message. And for the next 3 weeks, they called me, offered me job leads and trying to help me get a job. I ain't lose my job. But that let me, at that point, that's when I realized voting is just one tool in the toolbox. If H-Rap shows up, and says, okay, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this. The election is Tuesday. I'm gonna let you smile Wednesday, Thursday. I'm on the phone. H-Rap, where's the stuff that you said you were gonna get us? I believe that's why our community doesn't move forward, because we go, okay, we voted for you, now do it. People don't do what you expect. People do what you inspect. If the entire community starts standing on these people's neck, they'll do something. I know a friend, and I never give his name. He was an elected official. He said, man, our community got me in office, but their community keep complaining, so I have to do what they say. We don't complain enough. And that goes back to what sister worked together. I can't see her name. I don't want to mess up her name. That's why I feel the way I feel. You know, I've done a 180 in regards to civic engagement, because I've seen people do what they, just be on their behinds and get things done. 6 weeks ago, 2022, when all this Roe versus Wade, that Dobbs decision came down, Kansas, all of those conservatives, they a red state, they conservative, they Bible thumpers, they the whole night, everything that they say is against us. That abortion thing came on their ballot, came up as a ballot initiative. They voted it down. For abortion is still cool in Kansas. It's part of the Constitution in Kansas because they get involved. But we weren't taught that. We were taught the president gonna save everything, and that's why we behind. So that's another reason to answer the B and answer the sister that said that. If we don't get involved, we're gonna get screwed. Right now, we got like 28 days before the election. If we showed up at this election and then just stood on people's neck and don't wait for things to happen, we'll get it done. We are the largest, contrary to the popular, the popular opinion. We are not the minority in this country. When you identify people from European ancestry, they identify what country they come from. They don't identify by color. So it's only 11 million people in Spain. It's less people in Portugal. It's what 56 million people in Germany. It's like 30 million people in Poland, and that's the whole country. 111 million Russians living in Russia, but it's 50 million black people who are descendants of slaves here in America. So how are we the minority? And in your homeland, we got more people in this country than you got in your homeland. So how are we the minority? We got to start listening to these people, tell us who we are, and identify who we are, and then galvanize. Like a couple weeks ago, April, I said on my show, we have to learn how to not be friends. And what I meant by not be friends is if I don't like April, and April don't like me, but April does a great podcast, having great guests, handing out great information, I'm not going to tell my friends not to listen to April. I'm just not going to hang out with April. Hey, man, tune in to April. She had good things to say. I need you to go over there and listen. Instead, what we do is, I don't mess with April, and we get the recruiting. B, don't go mess with April. Big Illinois, don't mess with April. Chief Rocker, don't mess with. Now that I got 5 more people not listening to you and missing out on good information, instead of just, hey, April's not my friend, and we don't get along, but she does do good work. Until we get that mind state, we're gonna continue to struggle. In my personal opinion,
And
Right.
that is the truth, the whole truth, and the truth again. Some more. I might have to go get you a robe. You preaching now. Now I know when I was listening to your shows, you were saying how we could, get together, come together, and start buying some of this vacant land that's in our different communities.
Look, check it out. April, here in Chicago, do you know they selling some lots for $1? $1. Look at all that farmland down there in Mississippi. We got run out of Mississippi. Let's not forget, we got run out of Mississippi. We got run out of Georgia. We got run out of Alabama. It's only do y'all know it's only 4 million people in the whole state of Louisiana?
And the Carolinas. We got run out of the Carolinas too.
Tell them, say it again. Do y'all know before they started handing out those land grants in the 40s, there was more black people in South Carolina than white folks? See, we got run out of those places. What if we start re-entering those places? What if we start calling our cousins who live there, because we all got cousins down there, who own land, start buying some of that land and move back and start opening up stores? See, I'm telling y'all, man, we are in what they call a inflection point. These white folks is out here showing us they hate us. Did y'all hear about these city council people who was talking about us in LA? Yeah.
I'm in California. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
I'm here, and so everywhere you're going, it's like they're protesting right now. It's a lot of stuff that they're not releasing to everybody. But what happened is I worked a program, and I'm not going to say the name just in case. So I worked a program, and it was getting people services, okay? And it was like I was finding outside resources and to get them qualified. Like I said, God is good, because when he put black people in business, in situations, I was the only person that came in, and I created my own demographic chart. Not only that, I created my own background chart. So everything that I created when I would go to the big meetings in the city, I'm not going to say what it was,
you don't have to.
for the first time, every person that I presented to them would pass through until these 4 jokers got in office. So what happened is the program, you heard the word indigent before, right?
Poor, broke. Yep.
Yeah. So what happened was there were people coming across the border, like mainly Latinos coming across the border. So I had a rainbow of people that I was presenting. And so what happened was I kept trying to figure out why was the blacks and the other nationalities getting knocked down and denied, for housing, for low income and things of that nature. And the lady that just freshly crossed the border illegally, she was indigent. And what happened was it disturbed me because whenever I would have to meet with the people, I would keep notes. And every month, her whereabouts, location would change and what part of the Latin America she lived in. So we really didn't know who this woman was. They ended up giving her full housing. Taxpayers paid for it. We paid for her entertainment. We paid for her personal hygiene. We paid for anything that woman wanted to do. It was coming out of taxpayers' dollars. And the other people, especially black people that I pushed so very hard for, were being rejected. So I'm saying this for a reason. Now, I kept saying there's something not right. Something's not right. I don't understand why all these brand new low incomes are being built and nobody that is of African American or black American descent are being put in these positions, and none of these funds and things of this nature is being offered to them. What the heck is going on? And I kept questioning and questioning and questioning. And so as I noticed, when I first got the position, it was a rainbow of people. And all of a sudden it ended up being 3 black people out of a building of maybe 120 people. And then all of a sudden I ended up, because I questioned with respect, I ended up losing my position. And so I kept getting complaints. And when I was getting the complaints, I always had students that I was training. So the students would go into HR and say, well, no, this didn't happen. They wanted me out of that position so bad so that they could put Latinos in.
Yes.
So one of the things that leaked in that video was that they were dominating that whole city council to push out blacks, to make sure that nobody black was able to get into those positions. And so now it makes sense to me why my struggle and I worked so hard, and the guy that had to let me go in HR is like, I just can't understand. But because of all the complaints, even though I was cleared, they had to let me go because it was too many complaints, even though I was cleared. And then I get a letter like 2 years afterward, and I still have the letter today showing that there was no reason that I should have been let go of my position. And the very people that complained about me, they ended up, going into higher levels. They're Latino. So what we're seeing in California, how is it that these people are advancing? There are so many black people that have the know-how, and you're putting people in positions that have no real skills to work with the community, So now it's making sense to everybody. And now they're like, wow. So I'm going to ask you, all the people that they wrongfully and fraudulently pushed through in the low income housing, given resources and benefits, if you were to have to go in yourself to clean up, would you remove all those Latino people? Not to say that you're being prejudiced or mean. Would you remove them from those programs and start all fresh and go back to the people that were the original applicants and help them out? What would you do?
No, I wouldn't. You know what I would do? I'd get me a gang. See, that's the thing. We need to galvanize. See, we got to look at the blueprint. See, they what they did was teach me and you how to work the number. So what we do, we go and find us a position so we can get us some housing, and we go over there. See, what I believe is the problem, sister. We don't ever want to lead a system. We don't want to stop shopping at Macy's. We don't want to stop shopping on Rodeo Drive. We want to be inculcated into the system. No, everybody start withdrawing and start being greedy with what you have. Because see, here's the beauty of the thing. We the creators of this whole get down. Everybody learns from us. But if we start being quiet, if I only talk to you and I like what you did. You said it's a situation. I'm not going to tell you what the situation is, but it was a situation. And then I'm not going to tell you who did it, but all we got to do is later on tonight, me, you, and April get on the phone. It was these clowns, and these clowns. And then I got people in South Central. I got people on Watts. I got people in Compton. And what we need to do is galvanize all those groups. And then start saying, hey, they got that thing over there. And we need to start drawing down on this governmental money and get us some over here. And we're not going to be hate mongers like them and talk about hurting people and destroying people. What we do is make sure it's me, you, it's 1,000 me, you, and Aprils. And then get a couple of Chief Rockers and a couple of B Sparrows. And we make our situation. See, I don't want to displace those people because all they did was work that number the way they were supposed to work it. So now that we know how to work the number, we work our number. And every time we've been look at history. Every time we've been left to our own devices, Wilmington, North Carolina, Liberty City, Florida, Peoria, Illinois, West Side of Chicago, Bronzeville, Illinois, Harlem. We can go from the Atlantic Ocean on to Pacific Ocean. That's why that the 305 highway there, because at one point we had took over that whole thing. There was a thriving black community. They put that 405 interstate there and busted us up.
Right.
That's why they do those things. But if we start being on the city council, we start standing on their head with these aldermen and getting people getting the U's and the me's in office and the Aprils in office instead of trusting White Boy Roy or Juan or one of these Candace Owens types, or what's that boy, Larry Ellis, and start trusting people who we know and trust, and then that's how we get it done.
Right, but I think you missed what I was saying. I was saying that what they released on the tape is that the 4 council people, they were heard on the tape admitting that they were locking black people out on purpose, and the way that they were doing it, nobody could figure out until they were busted on tape. So more stuff is coming out. They were denying black people like housing and things of that nature. So it's not that the black people weren't applying. Like in California, we have what they call oh my God, what is it called again? Shucks, it's the transportation. I forgot what they call it, but they work on the roads and things of that nature. It's going to come to me later. But you look now, how is it that the jobs that Caltrans, that's what it's called, Caltrans. It was a mixture of races with Caltrans. Now, when you look, you see every Latino in, it seems like the whole world, nothing but Latinos. And then if a black person is so lucky to get in that position, they get them fired. So how do we deal with that? They do it purposely because they don't want us in those positions that are rightfully ours in all those city type jobs.
Well, Regina answered your question then. You go to the EEOC and the EEOC will clean all that up. Regina Jones answered your question.
It's different out here. These folks is something else, I'm telling you.
But that's what I'm saying. And then it goes back to what I said initially. Then we can go the governmental route and file all the documentation and put us in the best possible position to legally succeed. And simultaneously, we work together with people like you and community activists and get our own thing as well. In addition to, we don't have to do it separately. You contact the EEOC, and while we contacting the EEOC, we continue to galvanize the community and get activated for our best interest.
Right. But here's
That's
something that tripped me out. When I remember when Kevin De Leon was running, and one of the things that stuck in my head, I don't know about now, but I wanted to know, how is it that this man could run for an office in any capacity when he was still an illegal immigrant with no documentation? He was known to be here illegally, and they got him in these different various office spaces. I remember when he barely understood English, and I'm like, how the hell did he get in office? And it's like they strong arm, like they lock arms for every position. Like you could just say, I really don't agree with that, and be just as sweet and kind, and they will run back and they will say some of the most heinous stuff. But even when Black people in California run to the EOC and places like that, they tend to have another person of their same race that will probably grab that paperwork and sweep your stuff up under the rug. When I say it's bad out here, it's bad. And they were saying that they purposely created tensions between the Latinos and the Black. This is another thing that's on that tape as well. And they were calling Asians ugly and short. I mean, they were just really, and then they're saying, I'm sorry, but the thing that touched my heart yesterday was a Black man said, you know what, enough of your damn sorries, because you guys keep doing things to us. You say you're sorry, but then you turn around and you do the same old stuff. That doesn't change your heart. Now she doesn't want to, she stepped down from being the president, the lady, but not her position. So now Biden is out here in California and he wants them fired, period, out. No more, kaput,
And then what we need to do, Sister Chains, is you need to give out the information of what city you in, and everybody. April got 1,300 people. All 1,300 of us need to find the city council numbers, and we need to call.
Okay, seriously. I could try to get that information and pass it through to her, but the De Leon guy, he said, I refuse to resign. So who fires a city councilman? I know the governor can't.
Mayor?
The mayor can't. No, they can't do it. I read it.
Excuse me, the city manager?
Yeah, the governor and the mayor can't do it. But I don't know about the city manager, but this guy is refusing to step down. And they said until they all are out of office, there's not going to be any healing. And I think they need to have one of each, a Asian, a Black, a Hispanic, and whoever. And once that, like if that person quits or get fired, they need to be replaced by the same exact race that left that position. Right.
Regina even pointed out, I got caught up in I'm going to let you know, I used to work for the Washington Post, and we used to have a Bible study group. Everybody in that Bible study group got fired. I was the only person that got fired erroneously. But at the time, my mom was sick and she was dying. I just left the gig. I took the money, and I had a little money tucked away. And I was able to take care of my mother without working for 2 years. I can't. And if I would have been multitasking, like I'm saying that we need to do as a community, I would be $350,000 richer right now, because the EEOC told me you need to contact us and we're gonna give you an attorney. We have to use these governmental agencies to do our bidding like they're supposed to do, and just like you said, this is why voting, again, I used to be anti-voting. So you talking to a dude who has been converted. I used to be, man, that voting stuff don't work. But guess what? The city manager, the mayor, the city council people, and all the people who are in charge of that city and that county, we could vote them in or out. And then at that point, we will have the power to dictate if we're being treated properly. You got to go. Voting is important, not because a man said, well, I exercise my rights and my grandfather died. No, your grandfather was voting because if the sheriff is part of the Ku Klux Klan, we don't need that sheriff. Like that sheriff in South Carolina. Oh, no, that sheriff in Ohio. I wrote his name down. I wrote his ones. I'm going to give you his name. Dude on the phone talking about he want to lock up Black people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, he on the phone. Yeah. His name is Sheriff Jody Green, and they getting him out of the way. See, this is my personal opinion. Remove the chains.
Break chains. Just say chain breaker.
Chain breaker. This is my personal opinion in regards to this. We the people who were born between the years of 1960 and 1979, we got lulled to sleep, and they turned Dr. King dream on us like a pit bull. Dr. King said we got a right to go where we want to go, and we treated it like that's where we need to be going. And we got relaxed in the 70s. We got that poison put in our community, that disease put in our community in the 80s. Then they put that jail thing on us in the 90s, and here we are in the 2000s, still struggling. At this point, the 20s is making the 70s look like the 60s, look like the 50s.
Right.
So what we need to do is start working and understand this fight is not. I just got off the Zoom call with about 12 of my homeboys Saturday. This fight, what we have to do is realize this fight ain't never gonna end. This fight will never end. So we don't have time to go, whew, we won that one. We got to go, okay, I need to get Chains. I need to get April. I need to get Regina. I need to get DJ Chuck. I need to get Lady T. And then once I get one of y'all, I need to go get 5 more people before we get the next person. We got to be playing chess. We've been playing checkers this whole time. So what we have to do is we've already established an alliance right here, right now.
Right. So
now I got to get some of my people to come subscribe to April. April got to get some of her people to come subscribe to me. And then I'm asking you now, you have to come to my show and introduce yourself to my people. And then now the platforms expand and we can get the help that we need nationwide, because see, April got 1,000 people, I got 1,000 people, 2,000 people call your municipality. Something has to be done. Every call made to your municipality is documented. And people are like, well, I don't really know what to say. All you have to call and say, my name is Brian Williams. I'm a registered voter. I've been hearing this. What are y'all going to do about it? Hang up your phone. That is documented. And if 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, 20,000 people doing it, guess what? And like Sam Cooke say, change going to come. But we keep saying, Clinton going to look out for us. Bush don't like us. I don't give a damn if Bozo the Clown is the president. We need to be calling the White House. What are y'all going to do? We saw in 2020 when they killed our brother George Floyd, everybody in the world stood up, and what started happening? They started changing laws. That was God showing us, hey, you see what happened to y'all brother, but you see what happened when y'all got together and did something. Laws start changing. So for people to be like, hey, nothing going to happen.
Hey, Regina. Regina is an activist for Joliet, but she lives in Atlanta, and her heart is still with Joliet. She has come up here several times when we were protesting when a man was killed. We shut down the intersection in Joliet. We had a man that was killed by the police. She came up here, we showed up, and we showed out.
Exactly. And see, that's...
Speaking of that, what you were saying about George Floyd and all of that, well, what do you think about this Black Lives Matter and what Kanye was saying about them?
You know what, April? I don't even think about it because he's a bozo. I'm just not going to buy tickets to that circus. He's a clown. I'm not finna address Kanye. I'm not going to talk about Kanye because we got our sister Chains struggling. We got Regina in Atlanta doing good things. Me and you doing good things. Why we, and no disrespect to you, I ain't talk about Kanye. I ain't talk about Candace Owens because the only reason they're rich is because we keep shining the light on those two clowns. But if they do blah, 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 and we just go, and what you say again, April, nobody is ever gonna pay attention to them. The only reason Candace Owens is hanging out with Kanye is because both of them, they want nobody to talk about either one of them. They came together and now we talk about it. Let's not talk about things that get on our nerves. Just like if I cussed you out tonight, you ain't finna come on your show next week. Did y'all see last week that jackass H-Rap cussed me out? Nope. You just gonna move on with your show. And we got to start moving on and leaving them clowns right where they at. Let that circus go to another town. And we not addressing no more clowns. I'm not addressing that bozo. We know he's a clown. And we know he's a goofball. And he's looking for he's an attention whore. So let's not even talk about it. I'm not talking about nothing that get on my nerves. do that, Kanye. God bless you, brother. And then keep it moving. Because
Well, no
when
matter
last time
how,
we talked, you
yeah,
know, when last time we talked about that girl, Candace Owens, when Donald Trump made her look like a damn fool on TV, and she was like, I'm not with the vaccine. And he was like, I am. I got vaxxed. And she looked like a fool. We ain't heard a word from her since.
yeah.
And now we
But
talking about it
even
again.
though Kanye's a clown, he still was dropping some gems, in my opinion, on the
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter because they got $900 million and they didn't do anything with that money. And so, yes, I'm a black person and I'm going to talk about Black Lives Matter because um, it should have been a powerful movement, but black people stole the
Yeah.
doggone money.
Yeah.
No, actually, well, Black Lives Matter was started by that Jewish man. See,
Oh yeah, I know. You talking about what's
uh,
his name?
yeah, he from New York. So
Whatever his
when
name
you
is.
go to the
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter website, they ain't talking about our issues. They talking about LGBTQ issues.
Yeah, that's what she was doing. It. She gave $20+ million to the the alphabet people. Thank you, Miss
Yeah.
April, for that word because I keep forgetting how to say it. All these
Mhm.
letters. So basically, I believe she used that as a cover up for that movement. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I do believe it. And with me, it's different because my dad was very, very adamant. No matter what you see, you read for yourself, you do your own research.
Mhm.
And I'm with Miss April because I feel like this. Like he said, everybody's still running around here knowing that everybody got scammed. Now the white people that got scammed, they want their money back. And they said basically, he said Black Lives Matter was a scam. It's over. Let's move forward. And so he did that in order to pluck their nerves because people still run around here. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives. Okay, tell me one thing Black Lives Matter did. What did they build a community center? Did they
Nope.
build a school? Did they
Nope.
build a hospital? Did they put up low income apartments? Did they have like a transportation program? Did they have free medical? What did they do? Nothing. So why are you still supporting something that made us look like a bunch of asses? And now if we try to pull up a whole nother movement, people are gonna be looking at us cross-eyed and crazy, like, oh, here they go with and we're gonna be legit. But because of what Patrice Colliers and them did, it's gonna make it even harder for us to let people see that we are genuine in what we are trying to do. She really put a stain on the black people trying to move in a better direction to help uplift other black people. I feel that's what she really damaged us with that. Even if that Jewish man did fund it, I would have took that money and said, okay, you want me to do it this way, but underhand, I'm going to donate to anything that has to do with black. I'm going to donate to anything that has to do with education. I'm going to do it to help with housing, medical costs. Maybe there are women that have baby daddies, they got pregnant and the baby daddies are in jail for committing a crime trying to feed their family, or they just have a criminal history. I would have like a daycare center set up and get people that know how to write grants so these girls can go to school and they can get themselves educated to get a job. I would have job program. I would have done all kinds of stuff off the back of their money because they do things off the back of our money and off our backs.
Mhm. But what I'm saying is this. What
George Soros,
I'm
that's his name.
speaking. I'm speaking. Yes, that's his name. I'm speaking from the point of view that I never trusted the Black Lives Matter thing because initially they didn't even
Me
have a
neither.
movement. I never trusted, so I never paid attention to it. We can still do those things. There are thousands of organizations in all the states in the United States of America that we can actually get behind, and I want us to do the research. That's why I do my show to give out those sources of those points of reference so we can get behind our thing. That's why
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I'm not that Black Lives Matter thing. It came out of nowhere. They didn't have a face of it because I remember that what's the boy named McKelson. He used to wear the little gray vest. They called him underhanding some stuff, and this is like, it's too many good people out here. Like that brother, like it's this brother. Let me look him up again. I got his name wrote down. I'm gonna talk about him on the show. I'm just giving him his flowers on the show. His name is Lee Coffey. He has a water company. According to Lee Coffey, he has enough water that if it don't rain for the next 116 years, he has enough water to distribute to the Black community throughout America. His
That's a
water is
blessing.
called 1186 water. It is the purest water in the United States of America.
That's a blessing.
And he gave water when Memphis ran out of water. He gave them water. He's giving water to the people in Mississippi right now. GIV, giving, GIVING, water to them. And those are the people that I want us to start identifying and addressing and putting those people in the light. Versus, I don't want to play the game with them people. I just don't. I don't want to play. I want everybody to know your name. I want everybody to know April's name, because we are trying to do things and trying to get things accomplished, not just jaw jacking.
Right.
And that's that's why I'm like,
Yeah, but Black people got to get out of that mentality. Us four and no more. You know what I'm saying? We got to get out of that one. Us
Yes,
four
indeed.
and no more. Oh, it's just about me. Oh, I don't care about what's happening over there. With me personally, I'm the type of person, I go to a fast food or drive through, and if I see a person that's homeless and I watch cars, and right down the street from where I live, I can go down the street and make a left turn, and you'll see people with tents lined up. And every day, these people that have a lot of money, they walk by them. Me, I don't have a lot, but if you're standing at the drive-through window, I'm not going to tell you to get away. I'm going to say, what do you want? And the guy was like, I'm hungry. And he said, do you have any change? I bought him a full meal, and I emptied out my entire change purse. And when he sat down and opened that burger, and right now it just jars my heart. As fast as he was eating that food, I had to pull over in the parking lot, and I started crying. And the lady came out of the store. She said, "You okay?" And she was like, "Oh my God, you're crying." I was like, "Yeah." How many people passed this man up? All he said was, "Can you get me some food?" He didn't ask for no money. He said, "Can you buy me a meal?" I bought him a $15 meal, and he had enough for the next day. You know what I'm saying? And I gave him all my change, but other people had the mentality, us four and no more.
See, and that's the thing. That's their mentality. We have been oppressed so long that we've taken on the characteristics of our oppressor. And how can you? I tell people all the time, I don't want to be the king. I want to be one of the knights at the round table. I don't want to be the king. Being the king ain't what's up. I want to help people, and I just don't have time. I don't have the time to be arguing and fussing with people. Look, help when you can, and when you can't, pray for them. Period.
Right. Regina said the mayor of Stonecrest, Georgia, stole all the COVID money that was to help people with rent and bills. He's Black. See, that's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. Even when you put somebody Black in the office, what happens is they'll come to you. Okay, say for instance, we're all working together, and then we bring another person in, and then we're busting our ass, excuse my language, and then they pull this person aside because they see that's the weakest link, right? And they go, "I'll give you 25 million. That'll be in your account tonight." And they'll say, "For what? If you just sabotage what they doing. Sabotage what they doing, and we'll make sure that you get that 25. And you got those Black people that are so greedy, so thirsty, so hungry that we'll be busting our asses, and we're trying to figure out why stuff is not working because they are the leak in the weakest link. And that's exactly what Miss Regina is saying. Black people have a habit of doing that, and that's why we can't get anywhere, because it's always that 1, 2, or 3 that is trying to get a bag and try to get a come up.
You're right. I mean, but you know what? That's not just us. That's been going on. Look at it this way. Like, we all believe in God, and some of us are Christians, and some of us just a spiritual, whatever. But the Bible tell you about this. This one dude, he was going around speaking the word of God. He had 12 men rolling with him, and he told dude, "You gonna sell me out?"
Yep.
Judas sold him out. That's why I still, that's why we gotta use those stories as what they are. Like Paul went to the Corinthians in the Bible, and he said, "I have these allegories." Our allegories are stories that are teaching you lessons. So even if you don't believe in the book,
Right.
Read the book for the lessons.
That
And
part.
so we know it's going to be some trifling, underhanded people, and I get down. So we just have to keep work. That's why I say the fight never ends. The
Right.
fight never ends. So what we do is we vet harder. Because hey, some people say our brother Jesse Jackson sold out our brother, our ancestor Martin Luther King.
Who knows?
Right. So, but the movement, what we have to do is put, let's say, April in charge, and you be the vice president, and I be the third in charge. And then we got to start looking for the next generation. For
Right.
and then we look at the next generation. And as we are cultivating our thing, we're developing our young people, we're developing our middle-aged people, with young people, young adults, middle-aged, and elderly, and so it can always be our mindset. That's how these other communities are killing it. Because
Right.
just know, it's some Mexican people that's selling out Mexicans. It's some
Oh
Jewish
yeah.
people that's selling out Jews. It's some everybody selling out. But their infrastructure, their infrastructure is so rock solid that even when
Right.
that one dude sells them out, they just keep it moving.
That
And
part.
we have to get to that point. And I do believe this conversation is stage one of us coming together. Because
Right.
everything happens for a reason, and we just leave these goofballs alone. Hey, we know out of all the people who listening right now, it's somebody going, it's somebody always, it's a naysayer listening right now, or gonna listen tomorrow, or whenever they listen, it's gonna be one of them. But let's not be concerned with them, because it's more of us doing the right thing
Right.
than the people who trifling. It's just the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Just like it's more people getting, like I always tell people on my show, I said, it's this community called K-Town in Chicago. And if you say K-Town, people say that's a bad neighborhood, because you drive past, you see 12, 13 dudes standing out in the corner looking like they finna rob everybody in the community. But what you have ignored is all those people who walking in the house, coming in from work, on their way out to work, or at work already. So you got
Mhm.
3,000 people at work, on their way to work, or just getting home from work, and you're going to grade the neighborhood on those 12 people. So we
Right.
can't grade our community on these 12 trifling goofballs who going to rob, steal, and kill. To get closer to people who hate them, we got to grade us on you, April, and myself.
Right. That part. Big Illinois wrote, did anyone ever demand BLM to provide them services? The gay community made demands and saw progress. Actually, he's right in some aspects, but he got to remember Patrice Colliers was already a part of that community, and she already had plans on
Mm-hmm.
giving that community money because that's a part of her clique. So there
Yes.
was really no demand that was given for the alphabet crew because that's what she was a part of anyway. Other people asked for money and she refused to give it to them. But I saw the house. That
Mm-hmm.
house, man, that house is so bad. That
Three
oh,
houses.
I tell you,
Three of
I'm
them.
talking about the one out here in Cali. That sucker so bad, you would think somebody like Beyonce and Jay-Z on that bad boy. And security, as soon as you drive by, they look at you like, "What you over here
Mm-hmm.
for?" Ready to lock and load. Patrice, I mean not Patrice, but Candace Owens thought that it was the actual business headquarters because that's what it's listed as, the Black Lives Matter headquarters. So when she went there 7-8 months pregnant, Patrice Colliers never came down. The security never let her in because they will not let you in. They will barely even speak to you when you say, "Hey, how you doing?" They'll look at you like you got poop on your face or you're diseased. So there was no way that her life was even threatened because once you drive by, you stay there too long, the
Mm-hmm.
security gonna come out and look at you like, move on, and
Yeah.
nobody speaks to you at all. So she got on that thing and told a blatant outright lie. So
Mm-hmm.
no, nobody. Kanye's not done anything as of yet, but he is working with a program out here in California to help with the people that are homeless, trying to help them get jobs. They want him to cut corners, but he refuses to cut corners because his brand is at risk. If you just hire somebody off the street, you don't know what their background history is. You don't know what their level of education is. You don't know where to send their checks. once they get employed, how can you be sure that that person is going to absolutely show up every day? So they want him to cut corners and just start hiring people left and right. And he said, no, I got to finish vetting these people and making sure that when they come into my brand, that they're not going to be damaging to my brand. They're not going to mess my name up. So Kanye West has done stuff, but he doesn't advertise what he does out here. He does a lot of stuff, but Candace Owens, she make a lot of good points sometimes, but sometimes I think that by her being married to that white man, she forgets she's black until she walks in front of the mirror.
Well, I believe what Candace Owens does to get her point across is she tells half the truth. I get just give you another preview into my life. At one point, I was not the best significant other, when people use that against me, and I used to be a cheater. I'm not gonna. Well, I'm
Shame
single.
on you. Shame
Right.
on you.
Indeed. I used to be a serial cheater, right? But I got my life together. You know, I stopped doing it. But I used to be a DJ. And I used to make music. I used to bootleg music. It is what it is. And I had this one woman who I broke up with to get back with my children's mother at the time. And I kept it real with her. I said, you know what? I need to go raise my children. I ain't trying, I don't want this to go any further. She was like, we could be friends. I said, okay. We stayed friends. And she was like, hey, I'll let some people listen to your music and I'll sell you some music if you give me mine free. I'm like, she making $300 a week for me. So what she would do, and this is what I mean, this is what Candace Owens does. Her best friend was my sister-in-law, my ex's brother's wife. So she would do this. I would come over there to get my $300 and drop off another package of music. She would call her girlfriend and say, Brian just left my house. It's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. That was the truth. But if Brian leaving your house at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night with a poor reputation, what does that seem like?
You was over there getting it in.
Exactly. And that's what Candace Owens does. She'll tell the truth, but it's not the truth in its entirety. Like that lie that most people tell, black on black crime. That's not even a thing. But hey, ask the average black person, is black on black crime bad? Yeah, it's getting out of control. Well, what's white on white crime? I even looked it up on FBI.com. Y'all can do it if y'all want. Black on black crime is 91%. 91% of black people are hurt by black people.
Yep.
89% of white people are hurt by white people. So if we were in the same class, both of us would get a B. But don't nobody know the white on white crime because we're the only people that's propagate. Our information is propagandized and used against us. And again, why are we listening to this? Somebody like, how many times you've been in this conversation? You and your homegirls and your homeboys sitting there, everybody in your family sitting there talking about the black issues. And somebody go, the media is out to get us. And then the next person or that person might quote the media. Hey, wait a minute. What are you quoting the people that's out to get us for?
Right.
So we got to stop doing that's why I'm saying we got to get more people subscribing to April. We got to get you on more. You need to come on my program. I need to get Regina on my show, and we need to continue to grow this information base so people could come to us and get the proper information. So all that nonsense can stop.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, because my next project, I'm going to inform people of all the laws for 2023 that has been passed in the state of Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got some quick. Sorry, we got some quick.
Do you have any suggestions or any way that black people can come together, or those that want to have something come together?
Just these conversations right here. I picked up 2 new friends. Me and you already friends. Hopefully, Change my friend, and hopefully Regina my friend.
Oh yeah,
this is how we do
it. In the chat, I'm telling them. I post everybody's links.
This is what we need to do. We need to start. See, we don't need. Again, let's go back to the biblical thing. It was Jesus and 12 dudes, and not more than 60% of the world is believing what he was teaching. And that's why I changed my name to the supervillain, because The supervillain is just the perspective. You are down, not you, April. You down for peace, justice, and the American way. I ain't for that because that ain't done my folks no good.
That part.
So I'm a villain in regards to that. But when the story get through being, when the honesty, when the real story's told, hey man, A-Drop had it right. So I'm the hero now. Hell, in 1773, George Washington was a terrorist. What is he now? Abraham Lincoln is a hero. Not to me, because I know Abraham Lincoln gave every slave owner in D.C. $300 a man. My fault. Don't nobody know that Abraham Lincoln handed out white people reparations. Yeah. Abraham Lincoln offered a ticket back to Africa for all our ancestors. They said, no, we done built this.
That part.
So Abraham Lincoln, you know the thing that everybody talking about now, these white folks talking about replacement theory. Abraham Lincoln started that conversation when he was running for president.
Right.
He said, oh, no, I'm going to not let them replace you in the voting booth. I'm not going to let you replace you in offices. He started it.
Right.
So he wasn't no friend to us, but that's the way he's written up as a hero. But he the real villain. And people like Frederick Douglass and people like people don't even know the very first Black Expo was in 1840. 1840, not 1940. 1840.
Mm.
See, that's why, like when they talk about critical race theory, that's a master's level class. So only way I can take the class of critical race theory is to go to high school, go to college, then get in grad school, and then it's an elective. But it is culturally responsive teaching is what we have to do so we can teach. See, you don't know how great you are until you know what your grandfather, your grandmother could do. My daughter all of a sudden just started sewing. I said, you know where you get that from? She said, who? I said, grandma's mama used to sew. And now she's very good. It lit a fire in her. You find out what you can do when you know what's happened in the past. Marcus Garvey, what Africans have done, Africans can do.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't ever learn what we have done, that's why I show those videos in my show every week. So I used to show what I call trauma porn. They did this to us. They did. And then I said, nah. I need to start showing how great we are.
Right.
And then people realize that's in me. Everything that's good, bad, or indifferent that are in your ancestors are in you.
Right.
So this is how we get it done. April, what you did, you came to my show, you watched it, you liked what you heard. Won't you come on my show? Okay, I'm here.
Right.
That's how your audience, my audience, her audience, his audience, and we can just continue to galvanize. Even if we're only doing it in groups of 5. But we got people all over the country. I'm just saying, even if we're only doing it in small groups, yeah, it takes one rock to create a tidal wave. One rock in the ocean can raise a tidal wave later on down the line.
Can I ask you guys a question? Do you celebrate the New Year's? I don't.
New Year, I never even thought about it. But hey, maybe we should.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Why?
New Year's Day, when people were celebrating New Year's, do you know they were auctioning slaves the same day? Mm-hmm. They were auctioning and selling slaves, tearing families apart, and selling slaves the same exact day under New Year's. That's why I refuse to celebrate New Year's, because while they were having parties, getting drunk, slaves were being sold, auctioned, beat, killed, and everything else. And a lot of people don't know that. And so that's why I say, if you really are serious, if you're really serious about us, doing things that are going to benefit our future generation and educating them, these are the things that you need to know. New Year's Day was a day where a lot of slaves were sold and traded and murdered and raped and you just name it. So I refuse. There's no Happy New Year's. Don't come to me talking about no Happy New Year's when at that time their lives were being destroyed, especially Black people.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Eddie Lolo just said, yep.
I don't even fool with Black Friday. I did a video when I had my other channel on Black Friday, and what they're doing is they're putting things that they no longer want things that are no longer useful. You're thinking that it's brand new, but they have to get rid of that inventory. So they throw Black Friday as a sale day, and they sit there and they watch and see how many people scramble and act like animals for things that they don't even want to put in their house. And you're paying money, which you think you're getting a deal. Look at people getting trampled, they're fighting, they're doing all kinds of stuff, and it's like white people say, let me push the button. It's like opening a trap for a mouse, and the cheese is way at the other end. So that's what they're doing to people.
Yeah. And what I will do with this, 1863, when the Emancipation was signed, a lot of our ancestors created, that's the original Juneteenth, January 1st. So it's one of those damned if you do and screwed if you don't kind of deals. But I'm with you.
Yeah,
and you and the last person that said, "Oh, B, I don't really do no holidays." I remember when I was still with my ex, I told her, I said, "Hey, man, why don't we not do any more holidays and just go real hard on birthdays?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
your birthday be Christmas that year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We load you up like that's Christmas. And so I'm with you. I'm with you. And these old fictitious holidays. If you really want to get an eye open, look up that Frederick Douglass speech. It's James Earl Jones does it. It's on YouTube. What does the 4th of July mean to an enslaved man?
Right.
He knocks your socks off.
You know what's so crazy? Because we come from DC,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom was talking to me, and she was saying that I forgot what she said. I have to ask her again, but there's a street where they used to sell and show off Black slaves in Washington, D.C., like an auction. And it was a street when she was younger, and she told me, and I forgot, I have to ask her again, but Washington, D.C., in certain areas, and a lot of people don't believe me, but I keep telling them, certain areas in Washington, D.C. have so much demonic force. And it's because of the stuff that happened to Black people, like with the White House. I have family members like Mayor Marion Barry and a few other people that's a part of my family that actually was a part of the White House. And they say a lot of people don't say anything, but he said he always felt like there were extra presence in there, and it was like an eerie feeling. But because now it's so much more busier, people don't really take that time to know that, like, some of the slaves that were being, they were just bricking over them and, putting brick upon brick. When they dropped down and got so weak they couldn't work no more and they passed away, they just built, bricks upon them and over them. And so there's so many skeletal remains of African slaves that is in that actual building of the White House.
Oh yeah,
and it's eerie in there.
And that's the thing, you know what though? I don't think it's a bad thing. That's our ancestors letting us know. See, I think things like they call it voodoo in America, but it's really called voodoo. And I've heard of people talking about how when Rudy Giuliani was going to run for president, he said something about the Haitians, and the Haitian ladies up in New York put a spell on him, and next thing you know, he had cancer. So our ancestors, I watch a lot of documentaries, our ancestors don't play no games when it comes to their spirituality. So that energy that we feeling, like this holiday coming up, Halloween, everybody, white folks put masks on their face because they scared of their ancestors. We embrace ours. How many times you been somewhere and the ancestor touched you and you ain't go down this street and then you heard somebody got robbed down that street? That's our ancestors working through us.
Yeah. Oh, hold on a second. Mayor Marion Barry.
The one that got HVAC, do you think we'll ever get reparations?
Nope.
I'm with her, no, but that don't mean stop trying.
No, we're not going to get it because we're the only group of people that have allowed this country to change our names 5 different times. Now, if we were going to get reparations, we should have gotten it under the first original name that we had in the beginning, because those reparations were due to us at that time when we had that name. And now we're calling ourselves Black. Black means nothing, empty. Why are we allowing them to label us, and why are we so quickly to embrace? We're not going to get reparation. Let me tell you this, if and only if, and I'm gonna say this as a if Donald Trump got back in the office, if he gave us reparations, it would be to piss everybody off. It would be to piss them off and to make them angry with us. And a lot of people are not ready for reparations, because if they turned around and said, I'm going to give each one of you descendants of slavery, black people, whatever you want to call yourself, $2.6 million. And I'm going to tell you honestly, it's going to be a whole lot of black folk buying gold chains. They're going to go out and buy cars. They're going to be slinging this, buying designer clothes, Gucci, Prada. Ain't nobody going to really, it's a small percentage that's going to say, you know what, let me try to see what we could do to create a market for black people, and we can start investing in our own self. It's going to be a very small number, but everybody else going to have Prada, Gucci. They're going to go buy big screen TVs, cars, low riders, chains, gold rings, gold teeth. They're going to have it all. Get their booty done, their titties done. They're going to have their hips snatched in. They're going to go get some hair implants. They're going to get their eyeballs changed. They're going to do all of that stuff.
But that's why we come together now. That's why we come together now to fight it. See, it's an ongoing fight because people, see, we only do those things because we've been told that we not good enough. And I want to start saying, I want people to start saying the great Marion Barry, because see, we know him because he got propagandized behind his addiction.
Look, that's my family member. That's my family member, and I know how he was for real.
But that brother got a lot of things done in DC.
He did, but I just really wish he would have held on.
I'm just saying, hey,
how would reparations be distributed? That's the question. How would reparations to you, if you had charge of reparations, how would you distribute reparations? What would you do?
I don't know. Well, just off the top of my head, first and foremost, I'm gonna educate people on finance. Right? You can't get your money until you get your mind right in regards to finance. Right? Then I want part of our reparation package to be tax free, like the people that they call indigenous. Even though we was here in California, the place they call California 13,000 years ago, but I don't really want to get into that. But we ain't paying no more taxes either. And then I will get us financial literacy, get us some type of put us in the right direction so people won't go getting booties. And guess what else need to be part of the reparation package? Some mental health address. Right. Because we going to get booties. Look, those Victorian dresses with those white ladies that look like a waterfall coming off those dresses. Y'all know where they wear those dresses, right?
Yeah, make they look like they had big butts.
Make it look like they had big booties like black women.
Right.
So while we chasing them, they chasing us. It's literally the dog chasing his tail.
That part.
So what we have to do is, like, see, you are correct. Our mindsets have to be changed. Think about investment. Exactly. We look. Why don't look? This in my personal opinion. Why don't we just embrace? Folks hate us. Folks hate us. They hate us like the devil hate God. Now, once we get that in our head, then we'll realize once we lock arms, it's a wrap. Right. It's a wrap. But see, this thing, we need to embrace everything that's us. I would encourage you guys, everybody on who listens to the program, to go to Netflix and watch this program. I think it's a 4-part series called High on a Hog. Man, y'all it is a beautifully done documentary.
High on a Hog?
Yes, it sound like it don't sound like what it is. It's about Black cuisine, but you will learn so much about.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Man, you learn so much about our folks in that. It's ridiculous. And another one, I'll go to HBO Max if anybody has it, and watch Exterminate the Brutes.
Okay.
And
I have a question for you.
Okay.
My question for you is, would you I know you said investments in Patty's Southern Kitchen as well. I would put everybody, like, if they were to give reparations, tell me no or yes. it would be like an allowance to see what you do with your first portion. And if you are the type of person that just wastes money, and sorry about the background, if you are if you're the type of person that wastes money, um, do you think it would be fair to put those people on an allowance so that they won't waste that money? Or
But
what do
see,
you think?
that's why you give them the financial literacy. You only waste money because you ain't never had it. Because you're trying to fill this hole. You know what I mean? If I ain't like, okay, I'm gonna use myself again. I'm just gonna use. I'll continue to use examples about me. I'm 5'10" right now. When I graduated in June, when I graduated from high school, I was 5'5". Women wasn't checking for me. You know why I became a serial cheater? Because by August I was 5'10", and all of a sudden I became Brand the little funny guy. So I'm cute now, and then it became, oh, he cute. I give him some, and I lost my mind. I had no self control. It's the same thing with our folks and money. We use money and things to validate us because we've been treated like trash all this time.
Okay.
So if you learn the value of money, a lot of us will stop and then we'll make better decisions. It's gonna be dummies no matter what. Yeah, you could be. Hey, it's some people who parents are multimillionaires right now. They grew up in affluence and they will blow everything they got by Sunday.
Right.
But more times than not, when you teach people how the value of money and how to make yourself continuously have money, now that, like you said, about 20% of us will keep the money and about 80% of us will blow it. Now it's 20% of us will blow it, 80% of us will keep it, and that's all we really need.
Right. That part. Get rid of that us for no more mentality.
All right. H Rap, I appreciate you being on. I know you
Anytime.
got to do something with your son. Did you want to give a closing statement as we get ready to end? Because I know you got another show to do.
Yeah, it's in the album, good. But yeah, man, I just want all of us to don't look at the glass like, they say the glass half full is half empty. Our community has been trained to believe the glass is twice the size it needs to be. We got to get out of that. And if you think it's half full, that ain't a bad thing. Even if you think it's half empty, that's not a bad thing. Because guess what? Some people get activated when they say it's half full, and they'll get activated. Some people say it's half empty, and they'll go, well, at least I got another quarter. So it's not about it's not about what verbiage you use. It's about how you act on that verbiage. Let's stop looking at the worst parts of us, and let's start looking at the best parts of us. We created things like the toilet seat, the heater, the refrigerator, the iron, the Ring doorbell, the internet, the remote control, the filament in the very light that I got in front of me was created by us. So when we start understanding that we did everything that's important in this country, we'll realize that we don't have to supplement it with things. We have to supplement it with with reinforcement of the greatness that we have. And if we do that, we can return to prominence. Understand, we great. You're great. What you're doing is great. Ain't no God didn't make no blanks. God didn't put nobody on this earth and go, okay, you can't do nothing, and He put you down there. The stupidest person you know is good at something that's beneficial to everybody who listens. So as long as we remember that, we can't be stopped.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on.
Man,
Mr.
anytime.
Together, you got any closing comments?
No, I don't have any, but I would like for him to type his channel down
I
in the
put
comment section.
everybody's channels. It's in the chat.
I didn't even see it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Hold on.
You know what? I'll change my name to my channel.
You got at the end of the bench.
Yep.
I just
Okay.
want to say thank you for allowing me to be here. Thank you for answering questions. Thank you for everything that you do for the community. Thank you, Miss April. It's always a pleasure. I love your wisdom. I love how you are open to, just explore ways that, can help us be a better us. Thank you so much. Thank you, Miss April.
Yeah.
You know, just
And
make
as
it so you can
usual,
see
I
my
thank
name.
y'all for coming in. Cause I feel like we all great. We all number ones in my
Indeed.
life.
Amen,
But
April. Amen.
go out there and get that money. I want everything the government got for me. I don't care. I've worked for 30 some years. I want free phones. I want everything. Anything out here the government giving away, I want it.
I want two of them.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and like, you know, I want section 8, 9, 10,
Me too.
14,
Me too.
28. Whatever they
Right.
giving out free, they owe it to us.
Thank you. Thank you. Shoot, I want Section 8 too. I want a nice house.
Right.
They didn't have it.
And then we can, you know, like what's the name of that company? NACA. We got to get on that NACA thing too, because NACA is trying to give away 1.4 billion, not actually $2 billion in housing things. And look, brothers and sisters, NACA is using how frequently you pay your rent versus your bad credit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hey, land is power. And when you buy a house, make sure you buy the land. See, that's how they get you with that eminent domain. See, because you ain't bought the land, you just bought the building. So they come through and shoot you with some nonsense, and then now you got to move. But if you go to the land bank and buy the land and buy the house, bam, they can build 1 million stadiums. I own the land and the building. Now, if you want to give me $10 million for this house, then y'all can build this new stadium. Otherwise, y'all gonna have to go on down the street.
All right. That was a nice gem to drop.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming. I'll be in your shows.
Yep. Me and my son tonight at 8:30 on the End of the Bench. THAENDOFDABENCH. The End of the Bench. It has a red, white, and blue. Let me pull this logo up. It has a red, white, and blue. It has a
See you later on tonight.
Yep. Let me show people the logo so they won't go to the wrong thing. This is the logo that you light flash. Let me see if I got a black.
Yeah, we dropped the link in the chat.
Yep. And I just put it in there too. So thank you for the people who subscribe. Thank y'all very much. I got some few things coming up. And all we got to do is work together. If we work together, ain't nothing going to stop us. Ain't nothing going to stop us if we work together. Thank you for having me on again, April.
Okay, April Showers, I'm out. Peace.